Over the past 20 years, techniques of training fruit trees to grow along wire trellises have been developed. The result is an increase in fruit per hectare and much easier management of the tree. Training trellises have up to 17 wires, although most systems have 8 wires, which is practical in most cases and less expensive to install. There are 3 trellis systems most used in fruit production: the espalier system, the Vihach system, and the Trellis system. All trellis systems consist of a number of 50 mm support poles that are buried to a depth of 600 mm in the ground. Each pole is placed not more than 15 meters from each other. The entire weight of the tree and the crop is being taken by the training system. The first wire is strung at 60 centimeters, and each following wire is fitted at between 20 and 30 centimeters from each other. It's important to tension the wires to the correct pressure and to tighten them when they stretch over time. The one point that must be attended to very carefully is the anchoring system. It has to be really strong, almost double that used for support systems. Construction must be done correctly and the system must be very strong. If it collapses, the crop could end up on the ground. The espalier system is a straight up and down trellis which is used widely in plum production. The tree is planted and the central leader is tied to a convenient crosswire. As the tree develops, branches will form, and once these reach a length of 50 to 20 centimeters, the branches are tied to the trellis horizontally. One branch on either side of the central leader is selected. Each branch is tied horizontally to its own support wire. The resulting formation is known as the fruiting wall. It's a very neat system which is easy to look after and to harvest, as there are no branches growing into the tractor row. The rows are usually between 3 and 3.5 meters wide, and the trees are spaced about 1.5 meters apart. Trellising systems allow a lot of light to flow into the tree. The more light, the more photosynthesis will happen in the tree and the more sugars will form. This leads to a larger fruit which is sweeter due to the extra sugars. Spraying, pruning and harvesting can be done quite easily. Pruning is especially easy as the pruner does not prune to stimulate growth or make heavy cuts into the wood. Instead, he makes a series of thinning cuts to regulate fruit production. As the tree is trained along the wires, the pruner is able to work in one flat plane, making the pruning process quite quick and stress-free. Some orchards will give more than 60 tons of fruit, so that means that 60 tons plus the tree's weight is being carried by the trellis. So there are no shortcuts when installing a trellis. It must be done properly. On apples and pears, a V system of trellising is often used. This was developed in Holland and is known by the name of the Vihach system. One tree is trained to the left and the next tree to the right. Each tree is trained to an angle of between 10 and 45 degrees off the vertical. The trellis is expensive to install, using more wire and wooden poles, and tree density is higher with the trees being planted closer together. The Vihach produces high yields in the early years, but those yields drop off as the tree ages. While this system was popular 10 years ago, the cost of establishment has caused it to be used less these days. Tatura trellis systems are used for stone fruit with very good results on peaches. The tree is headed at 50 centimeters above ground level and 2 shoots are selected and angled at 45 degrees with 1 shoot to the left and 1 to the right. Another method is to plant one tree at a 45-degree angle to the right and the next tree at a 45-degree angle to the left and continue alternating left and right down the row. Trees are planted about 0.5 meter to 1 meter apart. Using the Tatura system, the tree gets a lot of light and produces a high yield per hectare of good quality fruit. On the negative side, the weight borne by the trellis is immense, and trees trellised in this way do tend to get more vigorous growth in the tops, causing overshading of the lower limbs. Training a fruit tree to one of these systems is costly and time-consuming. The results, though, are spectacular. Harvests are larger, and management in terms of pruning, harvesting and spraying is quicker and easier.